Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Psycho here with Music Exclusives, and we are here at Conversations and Cocktails with Miss Tracy McMillan, the relationship expert you guys may know from Or Fiance, which airs on OWN every Saturday. She's taken us to a really cool deep dive on season 2 and giving us some relationship advice along the way. So, keep it locked and see what she had to say.
You know what I mean? And it's like, so we did 16 episodes this time, and I've come to watch the same process happens for every family. So it's like you just trust, like God starts to happen in the thing. And it's like, because people are there, they let go of how they're going to organize their relationships and how they're going to manage their lives. And it's like we invite something higher in, and we're all part of it. The families are part of it, the couple's part of it, I'm part of it. We're all doing it together. It's like, and I see myself in all of you guys in different ways. Of course. I mean, that's the thing. In the audience, it's like you identify with the couples. There's no question about it. So, yeah, it's an incredible, I feel very blessed to be part of the show.
Quick question. Can you just explain your background?
Yes.
And what led you to this?
Yes. So I'm like the least likely relationship expert in that I am the person who's made every mistake there is to make. I have been married and divorced 3 times. And I say once each in the 80s, 90s, and 00s. I have not been married in 15 years. So I'm not like a reckless marrier. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I learned from my relationships. But what I went looking for something in relationship and marriage that I really needed to find inside myself. And so much of what I'm doing as a relationship expert is directing each individual toward what is going on within them, because that's where it all starts. It all starts inside. And so, for example, with Chris and Falasha, Chris needed to find that place inside of himself where he was willing to be a man to his mother instead of a child to his mother. And that's an inside job. And we were able to kind of come to that. Like you look and you think, well, the mom is a bad person. She's the villain in this one. But she can't be doing what she's doing.
Unless he allows.
That's right. Yeah. So it was really, most relationship issues start with something going on inside you. And that's what I learned through all my relationship failures. So it was really like, when you move absolutely into your authentic self, I mean, I'm a big believer. It's like, God goes, I could use that. And it's like, every single thing I'd ever done up to that, every mistake I'd ever made was made like, oh, I could use that. Okay, yeah. Like, we can do good with this if you're willing to like put aside whatever you think and just go do it. So I've just allowed myself to be led. And that one thing has led to the next, and here I am. And I know it's like a very unlikely story, but I think that the people that I help are, it's like most relationship experts are coming from a place of having one relationship that they succeeded in. I did Dr. Phil's podcast. He's like, I've been married 45 years. And I'm like, Dr. Phil, then you know nothing about my life because I've made 1,000 mistakes. So what experience, anything you're telling me is like an idea. I'm sharing experience with people, Here's what I did. Here's how I got out of it. It's okay. Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to have made a lot of mistakes in relationships. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means there's work to do. Let's get started, So that's kind of my background, and I credit Oprah with saying like, yeah, let's do it, So, but I don't know, we're doing a lot of good work on the show, so I feel like it's kind of not my business. I just show up. I don't know that there are any couples that where their participation in the show started with the family. I don't think so.
What about in general? Has that happened to you, that family reaches out for advice?
No.
No. So it's usually a couple.
No.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is, every family in the history of families has wanted to control what their kids are doing. And that it does not work that way. If the couple doesn't want it, it's not going to happen. It's both people. If both people don't want it, it's not going to happen. If only one person in a couple wants something, it's not going to happen. The person who wants something the least is who controls it in a couple. that's one of the paradoxes of being in a couple, is that whoever wants sex less controls sex. You know what I'm saying?
Married less controls whether
exactly.
Yeah.
So you oftentimes see people who are like underbidding their partner, like, I'll just want it less than you do. Now this is not, I'm not recommending this strategy, but you see it a lot. It's a way of keeping power. And in families, you can never make somebody do something different than they're doing, frankly, ever. Like, I have a 22-year-old. Going through the teenage space with a kid, you realize, because they get it, it's voluntary. Like, the teenage, they realize, oh, wait, when I do what she says, it's because it's voluntary.
I don't have to.
I don't have to do it. And once they get that, it's like, forget it. You can't leverage them or unleverage them. Same in a partnership. At a certain point, you cannot leverage or force your partner to do something. It doesn't work that way. So I think that once you come into that understanding, you start to relate on a whole other level in a relationship.
So you have like Cam and Chris Humphreys,
Mhm.
Future and his many girlfriends.
Mhm.
So what advice would you like to give to those new celebrity couples in choosing the right partner?
Well, it depends on what your goal is. I mean, if your goal is to have a lot of new sensations, then you're going to want new partners all the time. And I think, yeah, they want a sensation. They're living for the effects and the feelings and the whatever. I see that relationships are like a for real drug. Like, your brain does certain things when you fall in love. It has oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. Like, that is real. That's a real drug. So there are some people who just want the drug, and when the drug wears off at 6 months to a year, they're like, we need to get a new drug, okay? So when I hear people doing those relationships where they're going through them very often like that, like basically as soon as it wears off, they go get another one, I'm like, they're not even in relationships. They're just having like brain chemicals with different people. So I would say those people aren't even having a relationship yet, and they aren't even looking for a relationship yet, because in some ways the relationship begins where that stuff ends. That's when you start relating to an actual person that you're going to have to be like, because like the fantasy comes off and you're like, oh wait, who are you? And some people, they're actually like, actually, I don't want to know. And then they leave. So, because not only do you have to meet the other person, but you meet yourself on a whole other level. And a lot of people do not want to meet themselves. I mean, I always say a relationship is like the most intense yoga you will ever do. It is you and your mat. And you can decide that it's going to be about that other person, but it actually isn't. You are going to confront yourself over and over in a relationship. You are either willing to do that kind of self-confrontation or you're not. And your level of willingness to engage with yourself at a deep level is going to be the difference in the quality of your relationship, you know? And even if one person wants to do it, here's what happens. If one person wants to do it, another person doesn't, you will just fall out of their orbit eventually, sooner rather than later, because it's all dynamics. Relationships are two people. It's constant, dynamic, back and forth. It's like egg beaters. One's turning one way, the other's turning the other way, and it's just like, and the froth is your day in that relationship. So it's like, if you change, the relationship will change. And a lot of times, the reason people don't change is because they don't want the relationship to change, because they know that change, like somebody said it to me, Tracy, if we go to couples therapy, we'll get a divorce. Yeah, they know. They don't want to go to couples therapy, they don't want to get a divorce. You're only half alive, and if you went and you unpacked, you might get 100% alive. Doesn't mean you're going to get a divorce, it just means this marriage is going to end, and you could create another one in its place, a better one. But people don't have faith, you know? People suffer from a lack of imagination. They think, if I can't see it, then it's not there. And I'm like, I think one of the things the show demonstrates is what can happen if you dare to tell the truth about what's really going on in your relationship and what's really going on in the family, that you can lift up. So people don't really know that, and so I'm glad that we're able to show it, because I just think we are inspiring people. Obviously, we had so many couples who wanted to be part of these next set of episodes, and I think that's going to continue. I will say these episodes made me so, like, I was so moved by the level of commitment some of these men have. Chris was a great example. His commitment was just like, oh, you think there's no men out there who are willing to make this kind of commitment, but there are. And they are on Family or Fiance. Like, and so I think something about when a man is willing to commit in a really strong way, enough to go on Family or Fiance.
It scares mom.
Well, the mom of the daughter doesn't have a problem with that. She's like, that's what I wanted for my daughter,
Exactly.
that level of commitment. So it's not, the mom might have trouble with whatever the choice is because she had something different in mind. And it's usually something more like herself.
Yeah.
And I'm really clear with them. I'm like, you're not going to walk out of here the same people. Not one person in this house is going to walk out of here the same person that they are right now, because the process changes people. And they're all like, okay, whatever, we're in love, we're doing this. And sure enough, like, people go to emotional places they never imagined going. So
there's other relationship-based shows like
Yeah.
Marriage Boot Camp
Yeah.
and things of that nature.
Mhm.
But what key ingredients do you feel like this show brings that separates you from those other platforms?
I'm going to say the thing that really separates us from those shows is the families. Because families are systems. The families existed before we got there, and they're going to exist after we leave. So these families, you will find, there's always at least one member of the family who raises up the entire family, like Uncle Kwame.
Yeah.
Like, there's always like one super wise family member, and you never know who it's going to be, who is just like throwing down the wisdom and lifting up everybody involved. And you're like, wow. There will also be people in the family that are like pulling it down.
Yeah.
And so these forces were in place way before we got here, but they are also forces that really bring about the healing, you know? And so we're not there to exploit anybody. We are truly here to facilitate a healing and a transformation. And whatever the highest good is, that's what I'm here for, you know? And I'm just gonna use my intuition and share my experience and my knowledge to try to maybe turn over a couple cards for the couple and give some insights, because I can see what's going on. And then they know if it's hitting them in the gut and if that feels right. And you'll see it. They'll be like, oh, uh-huh. And a lot of times, I don't know the solution. I can show you what the issue is in a way that can allow you to find your solution within.
So I saw that for this season, you took like a more hands-on approach. Like
Yeah.
you were out like
A lot more.
So
Mhm.
why did that change? Like viewing the last season, you guys wanted to like kind of make, because I saw that for the first season, you kind of let us resolve our own issues. Like we had our meetings.
Yeah,
Then you
we're
had
still
us
doing
resolve.
that.
Okay.
We're still doing that. But that particular situation I got involved in, I do get involved a little bit more. A lot of it is just understanding more what my role is and what I can do. Because when you go through the 8 couples of the first set of episodes and then go through the entire process, even by, because you were like second or third, even by the end of those, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. You know,
I
like
can
you
do this. I can do this. Yeah.
like you get better, more confident. And so coming back, and after then you watch it on TV and you're like, okay, now I understand. I could give more here. I could do more here. So I'm relating to the things from a different way. I'm applying my faith in a different way. It's not like it's one or the other. And I think there's been this idea that if you go to therapy, you don't need therapy because you have God. And I'm like, I want to say God is everywhere, even in the therapy.
Amen.
Yeah, even to that. Right. So, and I think people can see that when you watch the show.
Do you feel that friends sometimes can interfere with family and fiancé?
100%. I feel like friends are part of the family system very often. Like there was an episode where the real issue was his relationship to the best friend, and she was having a really big the girl fiance was having a really big problem with it, and he felt stuck in the middle, and they worked on it. I'm not going to say they resolved it, but they got to a place where they could walk down the aisle. But at one point, if it wasn't resolved, she was like, I don't know if I can go through with the wedding with things the way they are. Yeah, that one was intense. They're all intense.
Everybody's like,
Yeah, they're all.
So how is like the reality? Because OWN is new to like reality. How is it being viewed as a reality show? Is it like being viewed positively?
Yeah.
Because I see like comments back and forth about like
OWN
doesn't really.
this?
Yeah.
I think that OWN understands that. I want to say they understand like God is everywhere. Like, yeah, that's what conflict looks like. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, but are we staying there? Are we saying, oh, we're just happy to watch you be in the conflict? No, our families don't stay in that level of conflict. They don't. Our families show like we go to transformation. We take this that started here and we take it here consistently. So I know that Oprah loves the show. I mean, I think it's very consistent with what she's trying to do, and it's not like a woo-woo version of spirituality or growth. It's like a real people having real problems, acting real ways that people act, which people do not act right all the time.
It's true.
Yes. So that's okay to me to show like this is what conflict looks like for some people. Now, what I want to do is put it in a context, like. For example, there really are kind of two kinds of people. Well, there's more than two kinds of people. But when it comes to conflict, some people have a style, an attachment style that lends them to escalate to try to get your attention. So once you see that this is just you escalating again, and that the other person probably has a tendency to underreact, and that's a dynamic, and the more he underreacts, the more she escalates. Once you start to see that, each person can work on their side.
Yeah.
You don't escalate so much, and you react.
Assess them to kind of healing within themselves so they can be better for the next person. Because sometimes it's a little tricky and it's a little hard, and you don't know how to do that.
Well, I guess what I want to say is, I want you to be constantly in that healing with yourself, because you're going to heal within yourself, but you can only take yourself so far. Then the rest of the healing happens when you get into the next relationship.
Okay. So
Especially when there's been a divorce. So, and I can say this firsthand, as a woman who has dated some divorced people, the real beginning of the resolution, the final stage of the divorce isn't initiated until the new person comes along. Right? You need a best friend? You need something.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like not a well primate. Primates are social creatures who bond. End of story. If we didn't do it, we wouldn't survive. So the Unabomber occasionally happens. Everybody else needs people. They need primary attachments. That is part of what it means to be a human being. So you're never just going to totally fix it all by yourself. That's all the explanation for why you're never going to totally fix it by yourself. You're going to have to get into the next relationship, and that's going to start the next layer of learning how to trust, learning how to grow, choosing secure attachment. That's where you're going to see how well you've really resolved whatever traumatic relationship you were in. Because we've all been in traumatic relationships. And what I really hate to see, I talk about this a lot, obviously. I was on a panel, and there was a lot of, you go girl, men can't handle it, blah, blah, blah. I don't buy any of that. I don't like when men talk about women are like this, females this. I'm like, no. We cannot move into these positions where we decide we're going to be in an adversarial relationship with the people we need to be relating to. No matter what, whether we're same sex, heterosexual, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't want to hear that where women are like, well, men are like this, and like women are like that. No. We need each other, and it's a spiritual path to be willing to do the work to be loving. It's really about loving. Bottom line, how well can you love? That's the practice.
I love that you say that, because a lot of times, including myself, I'm like, I don't need him. But
Yeah.
it's like, thinking about it, it's like, you kind of do need him. Like, you kind of do.
If not him, somebody.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna, and see, or you can get a dog.
How fulfilling is a doggy?
Well, some people are
Like,
like,
for real.
I'll take it, it's good enough for me. But I want more of the richness of the human experience.
Yeah.
And that only comes by dealing with another person. And is that hard? Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I really look at it the same way, like I'm a mother, I have a child, like, is that easy? No. But is it fulfilling ultimately? Yes. Why? Because I literally evolved as human beings. We evolved to love that baby no matter what.
Learning this.
Oh, I have friends who are like one wrong move, that dude's out. I'm like, I think we have to reimagine how that it's more like building the kind of relationship
Yes.
like you're
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
But the person has to be worthy of building with. So one of my images is of a like you're gonna sail across the ocean. All right, so don't get in some like janky raft and be like, we're doing this.
It's gonna break down.
No,
It's gonna
yeah.
break down. You're gonna sink.
No, it has to be somebody who can build a ship at sea with you and wants to do that work.
Yeah.
And you'll know if they want to do that work pretty quick.
Yeah. And what about this connotation of two broken people? I heard that a lot
Right.
in the first episode. Like, they're both broken. How can they come together? What do you think about that?
Well, I think kind of everybody's broken
Yeah.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more about learning the owner's manual of your partner. So everybody, you want to learn their owner's manual. Like, I have a trick knee. Let's just, we'll call my foster child, crazy childhood, like, I have certain trick knees. If you put pressure on certain places, it's going to be, I'm going to be like, oh, there goes my trick knee. Okay, so somebody who wants to do the work with me is going to be like, I got that. Okay, I get it. Let me learn you. So somebody that, it's like, I'm not about like broken people versus not broken people. Like, I'm going to say everybody has a trick knee somewhere. And it's about, now if you've got so many trick knees all over the place, then you might need to go,
Repair.
yeah. Like I do a lot of Pilates, okay? And then since I started doing Pilates, my trick knee doesn't give out. In real life, my knee is like, oh, it's a lot stronger. Well, you might have to do that equivalent of like where you're doing a lot of what you need to do to get strong.
Before you enter the relationship.
Or if a lot of times a relationship's going to reveal where the trouble is.
Yeah.
So you get in the relationship, then you see the trouble, then you start working on what you got to work on. So yeah, you can work on it before, but that's never going to take the place of what comes up when you're in the relationship. Yeah. Somebody said, get in a relationship, you are going to find where the leaks in your ship are.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there are really toxic relationships that work. Why? Because the two people are interlocking in their toxicness in a perfect equilibrium. I've seen it. We've had it on the show where you're like, damn, that is.
But they're good together.
It's not that they're good. It's that they are. It's a very stable dynamic that they have going on, and they're both perfectly suited and interlocking in the way they. Is it going to turn out well? I don't know, but so they may not break up. Is what I'm saying.
Dependent, kind of.
Yeah, like they're interlocking. I don't know how to say it. They're interlocking.
Codependent.
And it's
Codependence.
Codependency.
It's crazy.
yeah. So, but they may not break up. You see this couples who are really a mess and they stay together a really long time though because they're the perfect mess for each other.
Bobby
Who? Yeah,
Bobby
Bobby
and
Whitney. You do. Yeah, you see it. And then eventually maybe one of them starts to get better and they
Once
fall
they
out
start
of
to
each other.
grow, like once that
Yeah.
one person starts to like
Yeah.
work on themselves
Yeah.
and grow, then it'll fall apart. But if both
Yeah.
of them are stuck in their brokenness,
stick in the right way,
yeah.
in a matching way, it's
Yeah.
not right, it's matching. Yes, you can have major differences. Again, it comes down to what work are you willing to do? You know, we all say relationships are work. I think the show shows you what work is. I don't think people know what work is. They hear that word work, they don't really know what it means. We show you that there are different kinds of work. And here's what it looks like to identify it and to start doing it. Now, to your point about, do I look at some couples and just go, they're doomed? Honestly, I don't feel like that's my role to judge the couple. I feel like my role is to hold a space for whatever's in the highest good.
That's right.
And like, that is like, I'm not like going thumbs up and thumbs down on couples. Now this also I take into the world of relating. So I was in a relationship for 6 years. I was in a relationship at the time, during your time, and then I'm telling you, working on this show made me go,
Oh wow, I'm not gonna be dealing with that. That's gonna be
no, I was like, the relationship I'm in is not gonna do, it's not, this is weird, I'm saying this right now. It's like, I was like, I really had to reflect a lot on my own relationship, and I realized I didn't want to marry him.